What's up? What's up?
What's happening?
All right,
What's
man.
up?
These earbuds synced right up, man. They synced right up. Check
Wow.
it out. Must be my
Those
lucky day.
those look like those is it Abra? What kind of joints are those?
These
Jabra?
are not the Jabras. The Jabras, the ones that been giving me problems. It's the sound cores.
Sound cool. Okay.
Yeah, sound core is the move. Sound core is the
Okay.
move.
Okay.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the local musicians.
XP.
XP.
Ah!
Did y'all
We had a
experience that
fight.
last week?
We didn't. We skipped last week.
Oh.
Yeah, we took the night off, man. We took the night off. So we are rolling. We will have probably a small but excited live crew because we are exclusively on YouTube tonight, fellas. We are exclusively on YouTube. So we're telling Facebook to go take a hike. And I would really love to do that with the rest of everything that Facebook is and represents.
You don't like the arguments, bro?
Man, I can't take it no more, dude. I told you what kind of mood I was in bro. I was about to drop one last night. One of them good 2 a.m. posts, you know.
Oh man.
You know what I'm talking about, D. D know what I'm talking, man. Them good 2 a.m. posts, boy. You just can't take it anymore.
I can see Daryl just deleting that joint. He'll type it out and then delete that bad boy. Backspace.
Man.
That is what I do too.
See?
Nah, I don't do that anymore. There was a time.
We don't have to reminisce about that, D. We don't have to reminisce about that. We were there live in the flesh for that one. So anyway, welcome to the show, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, supporting us. We are we are in this for how many years have we? I gotta look back and see when we started this, man. But I was talking to somebody about the whole YouTube thing, and they were like, "Yeah, it take about 5 years, you know, like."
Yeah,
it just there's so much stuff going on, man, but we're gonna keep it going, even though some cats on the show got fake backgrounds, ain't got no fireplace that look like that, but
this ain't fake though.
This
ain't
Lord,
fake right here.
When the last time New Orleans won a championship, man?
Did Atlanta win one?
God.
I'm not an Atlanta fan, so that ain't got nothing to do with me.
Who's your team? You're not even an NFL team, bro. You're not a fan of the NFL.
I said New Orleans. That could be basketball. That could be.
I'm just asking you, bandwagoners, bro. You don't have an
football,
NFL team.
It could be football. That could be
whatever.
Whatever.
Last time Chicago did anything, bro?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm not in.
A while.
I live in New Orleans, Atlanta. Huh?
You not an NFL
I said
fan?
Man,
he's a Falcons fan. He's a Falcons fan.
Hey,
I can smell it.
See, I'm a Falcons fan. That's why I say that. I haven't been a fan for a long time in the NFL. But Walter Payton,
yes,
number 34,
greatest player ever.
I grew up down the street from his mom.
Wow.
So ask Gunn has a Jackson State Walter Payton jersey, and I told him, man, don't wear that around me no more, bro, because you about to get jumped.
Oh yeah.
He started laughing. He's got a authentic Jackson State Walter Payton jersey, man.
Oh yeah, that's the truth.
Man.
Darryl, can I ask you a question, bro?
Yeah, of course.
What were you doing the night that the Patriots played the Falcons, bro? Well, y'all had hope. The night the Patriots played the Falcons in the Super Bowl, and y'all had hope.
I was completely tuned out to all that. So I was outside of it.
I thought this was a music show. I thought this was a music show. I thought we were talking about music and
Man,
Right.
I don't.
People were crying the blues that night. They were the blues that night, bro.
I know they were. But man.
Hey, what kind of fans are these, man? What kind of fans are these in the comments, bro?
That little Knicks fan. They just fired their coach. Tom Thibodeau's gone.
Oh wow.
That's kind of harsh, ain't it, man? That's kind of harsh, ain't it?
Eastern Conference Finals, bro. They beat Boston. That's enough to stay alive right there.
But I guess isn't that the trend though? Because when Denver let their coach go, and I mean, I don't understand.
Denver fired their coach
after they won.
2 weeks left to play in the regular season.
Unbelievable, man.
Somebody else did the same thing, fired their coach too. I'm trying to think of the other team. Like, man, Denver, Denver.
Man, unbelievable, man, unbelievable. Yeah. All right, little sports talk, guys. Sorry about that. We we just sometimes we get off on a little tangent, but we are here for your audio and visual pleasure. We are going to chop it up tonight and talk about a topic that was brought up by my partner there, Mr. Jackson, and it just happened to be something that I was kind of thinking about as well. And I think it's a really good one. So share this podcast, especially with the young musicians, man, because that's who we're really trying to talk to a lot and share our experiences and, give them some wisdom and just, some tough love sometimes as well. But it doesn't seem like, I don't know. Are they listening, man? That's what I want to know. Are they listening? Because
another show, bro. Another show.
It's a challenge. But anyway, we're gonna say what we want to say, and whoever's listening, hey, more power to them, man. So, at this present time, let's see. Not too much going on. We got the Red Light Cafe session going on tomorrow. It's our brother Robert Boone's birthday. So if you are in town and want to take part in that session, that starts at 9 p.m. And then our niece, right? Not our sister, our niece, Lava High, is playing this Friday at First Church, downtown Atlanta. So is this her first show? Well, I mean, she doesn't done many shows under her name, right?
I wonder if this is her first show as a band leader at First Church.
Nice.
She's done a lot of her own shows.
Okay.
She's done a couple at the Velvet Note. She had something at St. James, and she's had a lot of other shows. She's done Carrie's Corner and stuff like that. So yeah, she has her own band and stuff. So which is cool. And she has her own music. She's written some stuff. It's really, really cool. So yeah.
Beautiful, man. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm going to share with you. Something she wrote in 7 and changes keys and stuff. The joint is nice. She's
okay.
Good.
All right,
good
cool.
Composer.
Well, I might have to pop over, man, because a brother is free that night, so I might have to pop through, man, and
get
check
you
it
some
out.
Fish, which is your favorite dish.
I could get the fish there. I could get it. Yeah, that's true. Not sure if I will, but
I was just quoting Eric B. and Rakim. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah. So
a nice piece of food.
Yes. Don't say that, Chris.
I'm not saying a word. Anyway. So guys, we're going to start this topic, and this is a tough one. I did a lot of thinking about this today.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't come up with no answers, but because I did label the show "How to," because people that's all people want now. How to do this, how to do that, right? Every how to do this, how to fix, how to okay. So I don't know if we have all the answers for this, but we are going to share our experiences that are daily. I mean, for me, I don't know about y'all, but they're daily for me. I've got, I don't have like delusion of grandeur voices that the Knicks were gonna win a championship type voices. But man, I went easy on him last night. I got to get him a little bit tonight, man. I went easy on him.
Right.
So, but I have to fight constantly to, just practice,
right,
arrange, work on music, make calls to make a call. Hey, man, if you want to trying to collaborate, trying to, if somebody's calling me for their thing, I'm guns blazing. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's do it. Yeah.
Right.
But in terms of jump starting my own stuff, no.
So you're saying that there's voices in your head or this internal dialogue?
I don't need to do that. And that voice is, man, you don't need to do that, man.
Right.
That's my voice. Nah, man, leave that. You don't need to do that. Man, let somebody else do that, man. You don't need to do that. Come on now. Come on. You passed that, What you gonna get? What you gonna get out of it, man? I'm just giving y'all. I'm giving you my honest, man. What you gonna get out of it, man? You gonna work? You gonna do all this? You will. I have a friend. Well, Steve Cunningham. So Steve Cunningham and I, man, have talked about this at length, where we have talked ourselves out of more projects. we will start something, and we're gonna do this, man. Okay, who we gonna get? Who we gonna get on base? Okay, we're gonna get, man. And the next thing you know, man, this is never gonna work. Man, it's gonna waste. Man, it's gonna be a waste of time, man. Man, where are we gonna play? Man, we're not gonna make no money. Man, you can think of 1,000 reasons to not do something before you can think of one reason to do something. So the odds are stacked. For me, the odds are stacked. So,
well, do you know that's? Let's think about this for a second. When do you know that voice in your head is not totally you, or is it you? Like Daryl, when you have this dialogue with self, is that you talking, or is that something else? What is it that's talking?
Ooh, that's good. I like to hear this.
I don't know. I think it's me. I don't know if it's somebody. I don't know if it's another. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah, right. I've had that other people's voices in my head. Like kind of. Yeah, definitely.
That's a good one. Whose voice is it? That's a good one.
Oh man, I don't want to get into all of that, but I'm just.
But we have those critical voices. We have the affirming voices in our head. You know what I'm saying? Which is still us, our id, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever. Is like we also like. I thought about this because I was riding my bike today, right? I have a certain trail that I do. Man, I know how many laps it is. I got an app on my phone, man. Man, this voice popped up. Man, you doing good, Doc. You have to get that last lap in, bro. You don't need that last lap. You had a heck of a week, bro. Yesterday, and it's celebrated. You stop right there, bro. And I was like, where is this coming from? What is this voice? And I'm like, I gotta fight. And that's the voice I identified as an influencer, right? That voice that will get you to try to stop doing what you're doing, or hey, you're good right there. The status quo is good, or whatever. Man, you gave it a good try. That kind of voice. But it happens. It happens when I'm practicing too, man. I'm playing something, And that voice is like, man, you did a good job. Let's take a break. Let's go get a snack, bro. Get a little snack. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this game comes on right now, bro. Right? And I might be in, those practices where you're just dealing with something and you're about to figure something out. You're like, man, or you've played it where your reps got you to play it okay. You're like, yeah, this is good. Knowing that you need to do a couple of more reps, bro, to get it on your fingers, right? That voice comes up to me and says, man, you did good, Doc. Go get you a pull boy from Decatur, bro. Shrimp pull boy. Although they messed up my joint the last time I went. But anyway, that's another topic. But anyway. Wow. I mean, y'all don't have that. That's the influencer one to me. I got a couple of other voices I could talk about, but what do y'all think about that?
Well, I almost put a TV back here in my
in your studio.
And the only thing, man, the one that I had was so big I couldn't find a place. I couldn't find a place for it, right? But that's the only reason. But man, when there's a will, there's a way. So you can get YouTube TV on your computer, bro. So I call myself back here practicing, and I got games going on the laptop, man, facing me. So I'm like, which, I guess if you're doing like a maintenance practice where, you're just sort of keeping up your muscle memory, stuff like that. But you're not going to get into any kind of zone, man, if you're like trying to split your brain with that. So, and I just thinking back to the days, I mean, I had a TV in my room, I guess, when I was growing up, but when it was like time to go down into the basement to like there was nothing. I mean, it's just like you and your instrument for hours. I don't know how my parents could stand it, but I think, I don't know, whenever you're that heightened sense of like concentration, I guess, because it hit me. Maybe it didn't really hit me, man, until I was honestly in my 20s. Like I couldn't really, I never did like the 5-6 out. Like I hear certain people that were like practicing like for long periods of time, whatever. But I hit that maybe in my 20s, and I still, I practiced it, all the time from up until today. I practice today, but there's a lot more distractions as you get older, right? And you're, one day I remember I was practicing, and my dude, one of my cats that helps out with the yard and stuff, was out there. I was like, oh, I need to go talk to him, which I didn't need to go talk to him. Like I didn't need to go out there, but it was just what it was like. Something in my head was like, man, that day, oh, you're gonna find a way to get out of here. You're gonna find a way to get out of here. It's almost like that, like where there's this man against machine kind of thing sometimes, and that's the I think the one for me is sometimes it's just like, man, it's like if there's 10 things going on that I could be doing versus working on what I should be doing, that's going to be a battle, man. That's going to be, and then also another distraction is having your phone next to you when you're, that's a bad one that I found will knock me off course every, you check, something text coming through or emails or something like that, and you're like respond. So today I think we just have a lot of distractions, man, that are more just more than you. And then I know I'm talking a lot, but then what if you got kids?
You just hit it for Daryl right there. They probably out there in the summer too.
Dude, when my little niece and nephew are over, you can forget it. You could forget. You could forget it. You could forget it. So anyway, I go ahead, Daryl. What you got on that, man? I mean, I could go on for hours.
I have a total nerd out answer for this. So, okay. I mean, okay. This week I had a conversation with Chat GPT about your brain and slowing things down and practicing.
Okay.
And the reason why I did is because like my son is obsessed with like fast stuff. Like he always wants to know what's the fast, I mean, he was talking to me about it today. And I just try to tell him like, look, like I pulled out Chat GPT and I started talking to it and I said like, okay, Chat GPT, isn't it better to do things slower at first so that you'll have more accuracy in the long run? And it started talking back, yes, it is, because blah, blah, blah. And I just, but the thing is like a while ago, I found out that every time you learn something new, your neurons in your brain, like they basically rewire and make new connections in order for you to be able to do that thing. And so it's just kind of like exercise. You do an exercise, then the next day you rest, the next day you come back, or the next few days after you're not sore anymore, then you can do that thing better, like, or you become stronger or whatever. And so like, it was just saying like the neurons in your brain have to rewire. And that's where I realized, like when I first started doing learning jazz theory, it was me and a friend of mine. We studied with Melton Mustafa, and we would spend about like an hour and a half working with him, and he was teaching us like jazz theory. Man, we both came out of there like, man, my head is hurting, man. Like, we both like, because that's what's happening. It's like the neurons are moving around, changing, and it does kind of cause a headache, I believe. And so my answer, like over time, especially now, is like, okay, first of all, when I first try to go do something and I just realized, oh man, like this is one of those headache things, it's just like, man, forget it. Like it's like almost like, okay, the first day I'm doing this, I'm planting the seed because I'm not going to be able to handle all of this today. This is overwhelming. It's too much, but it's like, okay, I get it. So then like the next following days, it's kind of like it becomes a project where it's like long-term. Okay, I'm working on something right now that I've been on at least for like a month. And when I first started working on it, it was just like, I'm sitting there like I was, like 5 years old, just sitting there like, oh, like I'm talking about like one note at a time kind of thing. Like, it's just like, it was too much. And it's just like, I just knew that it's like, okay, I'm going to have to work on this over time and just kind of stick with it, because it's not going to happen like overnight at all, and then another thing I wanted to say, when you were talking about, like repetition, I've been learning about repetition models. Like you learn something, then you come back an hour later and do it again. Then like 3 hours later or something, then the next morning, then 3 days later after that. And it's like doing these like I asked Chat GPT about that too. Like like repetitions.
You want
right?
the first name basis?
That's your boy, right?
Chat. Yo, Chat.
Chat is Chat. Right. That's like his boy now. It's like your boy, bro.
Yeah, like well. Anyway, mine has a woman's voice. I don't know why, but
Chat.
but
not Chat.
But yeah,
Chat.
like no. Oh God. But like But yeah, I asked it about like repetition, and it gave me a repetition model. And so it's just like, okay, instead of practicing this thing over and over and over again for an hour, practice it like 2 times, slow, come back an hour later, practice it again. Then come back the next morning, practice it again, and just do that one thing. And it's like, I'm finding I grasp it better and get it quicker doing it that way than sitting there trying to practice it for like a long period of time. Just because I'm allowing myself to do repetitions of, like working out, like doing repetitions of that thing.
So let me ask you a question. So
mm-hmm.
Daryl, so now you got this repetition model that's based on rest, right? Do you ever have that voice that says, man, we're doing good, let's keep going? I'm like, I think I'm grasping it. Let's break through it. I know chat says to do it 2 times. Man, I think I could do it 5 or 17 times, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'll usually be a catalyst to me, just going over something and then practicing it, for a little while. It's just whatever it's like. What I'm working on now is a starting point. There's the repetition is a starting point for me to just, I do it a few more times, like play this thing a few more times, but then after that, it's like I start just kind of, my mind wanders into, okay, how can I see this from all these different angles? How can I start this a different way, or how can I finish it a different way? That kind of thing, And so like working all around that idea, but then like I just know, like myself, like that the voice of like, all right, that's enough. That always gets me. So it's just kind of like, all right, well, when I'm taking a break, I just know I'll come back to it, and and I'm kind of like, I take notes, like real notes on, like real detailed notes on whatever it is. It's like, okay, remember to do this again until like it's becoming more natural. And it's just like, I'm just realizing it's just some things just take a while. And instead of me trying to ram it, just give it that time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting, man. Because not to bring this back to the sports talk, but
that's okay.
So, well, no, I think there's an interesting parallel here, because there's a coach. His name is Chip Kelly, who used to be at the University of Oregon, and he
Raiders now, right?
He is the OC with Pete Carroll now, right, with the Raiders. But he was the OC at Ohio State last year, who they just won the national title. But Chip Kelly has he's been one of the innovators in terms of offensive football and just kind of team play in general. When he was at Oregon, one of the things that he did was they didn't do like a lot of the drills and all of the, in football, you have all these different drills that the linemen do, the secondary does. Man, he would put his team, like they would obviously stretch and do cardio, do their thing or whatever, and they probably do a little something, but he was immediately in practice. They were treating practice like games instead of, we're going to do this drill and then this drill and then this unit's going to work against this unit. He was like, man, it's all about the game. And for a while, if people remember, their football fans, it was hard to catch up with Oregon because they played so fast and teams weren't used to that pace. So he kind of changed the whole way just the game is approached. And Daryl, what you're talking about, I think is kind of similar, man. It's like you're kind of looking at, okay, I don't have to be on this like fundamental thing for 3 hours a day. I gotta maybe it's about short increments, and then continuing to go back to it, maybe not spending a whole lot of time, and then the next day it's gonna stick more. I don't know. That's very interesting what you're talking about, man. I'd like to hear more about that, because
I saw research on that, a study about piano players. They gave like 6 classical piano players a certain amount of time to practice, where they would practice like they normally practice. And they gave another set of 6, like just like Daryl said, you only can play through it 1 time or 2 times. Then you take a break and come back to it. And the ones that take a break is like your mind is still working through the problem, the issue. But if you kept doing it, it's not going to get you any more degree of learning by just doing it 18 times in a row, you know.
Right.
Focusing on that. And I think it also has to do with doing the multiple speeds slow and then faster and then step away from it. And you know, that makes sense what Daryl was saying about taking a break from it so your muscle or your mind can learn what's going on or evaluate it or even think about it, you know. It's crazy. Yeah. We should do more of that, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm like when you said,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like when you said playing the game, thinking more about like playing the game. Because to me it's like I can practice, I can do a pattern for just for, you know, for facility purpose, but that pattern ended up in my playing. It's like, okay, well, this pattern, like I can't just sit there and be like, you know, like it's gonna have to, there needs to be like variation and then so I might play around with that idea, just, you know, and make and figure out like how I can always just snap into it. And that I'm not able to do that all the time, just immediately when I, you know, try it. Like I you know, I play the play alongs and stuff like that, or just create my own play alongs sometimes and practice to that. And it's just like, I know when it's like, I'm at that point where it's like, okay, I'm about to go for it. And then it's like, I'll just totally, it's like, nah, just wipe out. So it's like, no, I'm not there yet. Like, I need to go and slow this back down again. I'm not there yet. I'll get there. But it's just, I have this thing about just being thorough and making sure, like, as I get better and better, like, that I'm able to execute it. It's some stuff I can just execute all day. And it's like, I'm a master, but then it's other stuff. It's just like, nah, I'm gonna fumble. So in order for me to like not fumble, it's like I gotta zero in on that thing, and not and just deal with the idea as if I'm playing the game, like I'm actually on stage playing. How am I gonna approach how I'm gonna deal with this? How I'm gonna not get distracted? How am I gonna fit this in? And it comes off as natural as I don't know what, versus me feeling like I'm stopping my flow to go into this fabulous pattern that I learned.
But you just described a voice just now, because you said there's something you say to yourself, nope, I'm not there yet. And that's a voice that is saying, stop right there. Don't go any further. I haven't mastered it enough to apply it. Let me go back. So something in you stopped you from just trying when you were going for it, and you're like, oh shoot, it didn't come out, or didn't get on the right beat. I didn't come in at the right. Something told you to stop and start it over again. You know what I'm saying? And so you have that voice inside your head. Something tells me that you're hyper focused with musical stuff. I don't know about the rest of your life, but you write stuff down, you plan for stuff like that. You know, I'm not that. I have a schematic of what I'm going to practice, but I can go down the road so fast, right? Where I gotta say, like, man, Tyrone, you need to focus, bro. You know, it's like, oh, look at this. I'll intend on learning something. I'm like, oh, that was hip, even in that mistake, and I'll go down that rabbit hole. And I'm like, I gotta just get back focused. But you do have a voice, Daryl, which is a great way of saying, hey, stop it right here. Let's go back. We need to slow it down. Because some students that I teach, they don't have that. You have to teach them to say, hey, you got to police yourself. You got to get there and act like I'm in a room with you. You can't let that slide, and until it develop that thought process or that voice in their head to say, hey, don't let that slide. You got to keep practicing this. You got to go with the metronome. I finally got one of my students to buy into the metronome. Now she can't turn it off, right? But y'all know that to help them say, hey, the metronome is really important, and they don't really buy into it right away sometimes, and so you're in essence you're teaching them to police themselves with a voice inside their head to say, I gotta fix this. I gotta get this right. And I don't know when that occurred for you guys. And Chris, you alluded to maybe in your 20s, and I thought about something you said about your parents, Chris. I think they were probably just happy that you were focused on something and dogged about it, because my mom, I don't know why she would take me to these places at 4:00 in the morning, drop me off and pick me up at 4:00 in the morning. But she knew I was focused on something, and that I was learning and that I was implementing. But anyway, my question to you guys, when did it hit you guys for that voice that trains you to say, no, we're going to do this. We're going to do that.
All right, let's we got a good comment here from Martin. What's up, Martin? How you doing? He says, with that strategy, I think it helps to have a good night's sleep to give the brain the chance to process the newly learned. So, I have, and I've talked to you guys probably both about this, but like sleep is becoming like almost my number one resource, man.
Well, power naps.
Oh yeah,
power naps.
I mean, I know I'm not really I'm not really napping too much unless I have a real super early thing, and then I have a gig or something like late. I'll take one, but just more of just making sure that I get a decent night's sleep, because that has just become more important. And I think you know what Martin is saying here, that's also vitally important, because going back to, I can remember Tom Brady talking about that, sleep. He had to get a certain amount of sleep every night in order for him to perform at the level that he thought. And you hear more and more athletes talk about that as well, where
that's nice. I wish I could have that.
When I mean, you're in a tornado right now with what you're doing, but you understand what that's about, right? So I thought it was a good comment.
I want to be. I just never been. That's why naps work for me. So I couldn't schedule a class at
right.
I don't, no matter what I did. 11 is a premium time for a class, but I couldn't do it. I'd fall asleep in the first 15 minutes of class, and I realized I needed to take a nap at 11. So I don't like to schedule a class or anything at 11 o'clock. But
all right, All right. Now, what were you saying? What was you were asking us? When did we learn?
When did those voices come into your head? That monitoring voice, that voice that says, "Hey, man, focus on this, whatever." I don't think any of us had that from the very beginning. Maybe Daryl did, but I don't know. Where is like you have to train yourself or police yourself. I mean, y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm guilty of always trying to reinvent the wheel. I know what works for me, but I'm gonna try to do something different. It's just like my nature, man. Like for me, okay, practicing, rudiments, or practicing technique, practicing independence, yada, yada, yada. I am always at my best if I'm just working on music, if I'm just working on tunes. Now that can be whether I'm playing groove related stuff or whether I'm playing, it doesn't, but I'm always better because I'm in touch with what's happening musically. I think what happens is when you spend so much time working on the technical things, sometimes I think you can easily become out of touch with how you're supposed to be functioning as a musician, playing with other people, because your wires are going to be working a different way if all you're practicing is technique all the time. So this is like sort of you kind of got to know when to shut that down and when to jump on board with playing I don't care playing anything, but you have to have something musically related. You mentioned play-alongs, Daryl, that you do play along. For me, I'm always great, always at my best working on just working on tunes. It could be, I've been for the last 2 weeks, all I've been doing is working on stuff in 7/8, just to kind of get my mind back into that type of playing. But also what it does is it keeps me playing very, in my opinion, very interesting things when I play 4/4. So I kind of find these things that I'm like, okay, how can I optimize what's best for me or what's best for my style? Now, knowing all of these things, tomorrow I could be scrolling. This is sort of the pit, like we were talking about a couple weeks ago, the pitfalls of content creation. I see somebody do something. Oh man, let me check. I got it, man. Thrown off immediately. Thrown off of everything that I know I should be doing or I should be working on. But here comes, hey man, you need to check that out. Check out what this cat's doing, man. Look, see how this is getting all the attention over here. You need to check. Right. You need to go check this out.
Right.
That's a big voice, man, for me. That's why I'm thinking about shutting down like all my stuff, because I don't want to be hearing what other people are doing. That's what we used to do. You didn't know what cats were doing. The only cats you knew that was doing is if you went out and checked them out at a show or you heard them on a record. That was it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody was in their own caves, doing their own thing, working on their stuff. But now it's like voyeurism supreme. You can see what everybody, and that voice.
But you don't. I don't know. I don't think you even see the truth either. You see what people are projecting. You don't see, like, okay, when you see somebody practice online, you're not really seeing them practice. I don't hear any of the mistakes. Where are the mistakes? I mean, it used to be
that's
like that.
True.
In the practice rooms, when you walk into college, when you walk past the practice room, everybody knows who's next to each other, and cats are just playing because they know they can hear. But I remember when Ellis told me, he's like, man, y'all ain't practicing. Like, yeah, we practicing. He's like, I don't hear any mistakes. I was like, he's right.
But
you don't see that online, do you?
But that's not what you're trying to. That's not the point. The point is that somebody just played some badass lick on, right. And and
but that's not the practice part though, right?
But what it does is that it can influence. You talking about influence, yes. Right? Yes. It can influence you, yeah, to immediately switch up whatever it is that you're doing, yeah. And just, man, let me just try that. Right. It could just start innocent. Right. It starts innocent, man. Let me. What was that finger in? Okay, man. I'm gonna try next. It's almost as bad as another bad thing, right? I think we were talking about this. Is all of the food influencers, right? All of the food that had you mesmerized. I had me going to places, man. They got me so good one time. They got me so good, man. This wing place, bro, up in Duluth, man, I had to go check this place out. Right. I had to go check this place out. I drove. How far is Duluth from my house, man? A minute, dude. It was. I was like, man, got up there, man. I was like, y'all got me, man. Got me for a good 25, 30. got me real good, you know.
Bro, you're fastidious about your food too, right?
But I'm just saying that's another that like that I think is like a big one for people is like you could be on your thing and then the next thing you know, zoop, you completely off track on something. What you think about what you think,
Daryl? I mean, it's like I have a document. Like I said, like I have a document, and it's like whenever I hear somebody that's doing something, this is like, okay, I just write it down. It's like that's a list. I'm gonna address that at some point, but I'm just gonna stick to what I'm doing now because it's like I prioritize what's the most important. Like the thing that I'm working on right now, that's like really important for me. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna get to that, but. And then sometimes I make decisions like, okay, do I really want to do that just because this person is doing this and playing this kind of thing? Like, what's going to distinguish me, you know, from just copying what everybody else is doing? And then I start looking at it and I'm like, is there another way to do the same thing they're doing but different, but then be just as impressive, you know? Or is there another direction instead of going in that direction? Let me go in this direction and try to make something, you know. So I think like that, based around just some of the cats that I come across. But you know, I mean, it's a matter of taste too. It's a matter of opinion. Some of the stuff I hear from people, it's like, nah, I don't want to do that because then I end up, you know, kind of in this bag, and it's just like I'm just gonna. Stick to it. But if it's something that really bothers me or just like it's like, okay, I just know the pace that I move and I have to write it down, otherwise I'm going to forget about it, and then I have to write it down just to remember like, okay, I want to work on this first and then I'll get to that at a certain point.
That's it. Do you actually have a practice regimen that you keep and you stick to?
I'm trying, but no.
Okay.
I'm trying, but I'm trying to get there where it's like I actually stick to it and like I schedule things out more and better, you know, and just kind of, you know, just kind of have a list of stuff. It's like, okay, this is my list, and I'm just going to go down the list and then, you know, make a chart, and it's like, oh, the next time I'm supposed to do this, you know, I'll do that, and then, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm getting there, but I'm not there all the way yet. My thing is like internalizing it by my mind. Like that's a big thing. Just really, it's not just the muscle memory part of it. It's just sometimes I have to get my mind wrapped around a certain concept for real, and that's where I have to really slow stuff down to like a snail pace in order for me to like really be like, okay, I understand it at this speed now, but let me try to. No, I don't. I still don't get it. It's not there yet. Like it's not something that's so, you know, just in terms of it's certain stuff that I can play like all day, and it's like I don't even have to think about it. So I just need to get myself to that place to where I don't have to think about this thing that I am thinking about now. You know,
right?
That's kind of how I've been approaching it.
Okay.
On this topic, I did a little research, and I want to see what you guys think about these three types of internal voices. Some of them can be harmful, but I want to get y'all take on it. One is called negative self-talk. I have a student that has that kind of mechanism. Another one is deterring actions. That's the voices that can discourage you from taking risks or pursuing goals. And this one, I'm really interested in what Chris has to say about this one, is distortion of reality. It's a distorted view of yourself and your situation. So, which one y'all want to start with?
I want to start with distorted view. I mean, man, like that's the thing. Like, you know, I have gone back and listened to some old recordings of myself, and I was like, dang. Oh man.
I've gone back and listened. I've gone back and listened to some recent recordings of myself and been like,
in the moment though, was it good when it was in the moment, and then later on you listen, you're like, what was that? Well, I know that happens in producing. Sometimes, man, I'm up late at night producing something, man. I got a beat that I think is killer, bruh.
Yeah.
First thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I run down to the studio, put that joint on. I was like, that's trash. I was like, why did I think that was good? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, it's just that like when like, okay, 80% of what I was doing would be good, but 20% or like 10% would be off. But I would back then be like, I'm proud of my 90%. I'm proud of my 95% and ignore that 5%.
Right.
But now it's like, I can't ignore that 5%. Like it gotta be 100 for me.
Right.
You know?
What about you, Chris?
Yes, and
I'm sorry, Darryl. Go ahead. Finish it up.
No, go ahead. That's
that distortion of reality, because you talked to me about yesterday about some cats having their mind have a voice about themselves that maybe you can expound on that.
Yeah, I think it works both ways, right? Like, you can have the whole thing that we always talk about like you talk yourself into thinking that you sound bad, you know, so that you're constantly trying to pull up to where you are at the moment, right? Now, in 2025, not everybody works from that same philosophy, obviously. So people are working they work from the opposite side. They're like,
I'm killing.
Man, I was great. Or you should have heard me at the jam session last night.
Not last night. Last night, huh?
Or I'm gonna bring my guitar and my silk gloves this week so I can really show them what I got, you know. Or I'm gonna wear my special shirt and my hat. Now I could go on and on and on and on. I'm kind of,
but no, you're right though. You're exactly right.
But it's so, you know, I think it works both ways. I think that distorted views of where you are, to me, unless you've been around greatness, you don't know what greatness is. That's really bottom line. Unless you've been run off the field, run off the stage by somebody who just absolutely was so far above you, you really don't know what that bar really is. If I just heard Shaq talk about his climb today, about how, you know, when he got to high school, he wasn't a cat. He had two other cats that he had to catch in order to get to that level, right? So he gets there, he's like, oh, I'm the man. But then he goes to college. He said, man, same thing. Like 2 or 3 other cats that I was playing with were way above me. So I had to wait my turn, and I had to like climb my way up until they were ready to go on to the pros or whatever. And then it was my turn, and I took that window. He gets to the NBA, same thing, man. I got, you know what I'm so that's the approach really that you have to have, is that, you know, you're always start at the bottom, man, in your situation. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna ask you, so are you saying in 2025 people don't have that mechanism?
No.
Okay.
There is no fear, right?
Oh yeah.
Fear is a great motivator.
It is.
And unless you fear those who are better than you, you never really understand what that really is. So that's what we did. Man, I wasn't going up, coming behind whoever. Like, no, I'm good. I mean, because I knew in my mind I was nowhere near this cat. Even though, could I do it? Maybe. But is that good enough? No. I want to be on that. This is where I want to be. I don't sound anything like this person. I'm not going on stage. That was our mentality, right? Was, now it's a challenge because that whole sort of like that's kind of been removed by the distortion of what's great and what's not great. So when you're talking about the voice of what we heard of, man, sit your ass down and and shut up, that's been removed. So but even still to this day, of course, if somebody, I'll go sit, but but there's times where I might just I'll go in because I want to listen. I'm not always in a hurry to have to play or to show what it is. And actually, I've heard other cats talk about this too. Like, man, I'm working on some other stuff, man. I'm really not in the mode to even play right now. Play with what's out of respect for what y'all are doing or the stage, man. I'm just gonna check you guys out tonight. I appreciate it though. That again, that's a voice that tells you what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
So that whole distortion, man, I mean, me personally, I still have that. I use it though for what I can't do. Right. It's like I always feel like, okay, man, I just gotta work harder. I gotta work hard. I just gotta keep working hard. Now, whatever that means, it's not like I can't go on stage and I feel like I can't go on stage and play with just about anybody, but it's still that little thing in my head from how we were trained to like kind of know your situation and know your slot. That's just, that's just how I think about it. What do you say, T?
Well, I was going to say that distorted sense of reality, man, is real because we make up in our head sometimes of how we think something's going to go. I remember when I got a brother that's 13 months older than me, but he's tall, 6'3", curly hair, whatever. Any girl you brought to the house, or they instantly was like, "Oh, your brother's just like, man." So I realized I had to learn how to talk to these chicks, right? So in my head, bro, I'd go through scenarios. I'm gonna hit her with this line, I remember I hit a dirty jazz song. I was like, how I envy a cup that knows your lips, man. I'm trying to say that to a chick that I'm gonna take to McDonald's, bro. That didn't work, bro. You know what I'm saying? Or a table that knows your fingertips, man. I can't use it. But in my mind, I'm like, I hit him with these lines, bro. They gonna go crazy over it. You know what I'm saying? That junk didn't even work, bro. So I had to learn how to. It's like that's not reality. You just got to read the situation. Most of the chicks just want to hear about themselves anyway. So start there. You know what I'm saying? So
hey, man, let's keep it moving there, brother.
But anyway, what I'm saying is that you had to that voice of why you want to go there, Chad? But anyway, that voice of what is reality until you figure out what it is. You know what I'm saying? You just make up in your head what's going to happen. Man, I'm going to practice 8 hours a day. Then I'm going to hit this jam session. Like, is that reality? Right. I'm going to hit it with all this stuff, bro. I learned it. Bro, I was learning. I was going over a song today. Guess who I saw today? I think I was telling Daryl about this earlier. about I had this recording session, right? And trying to build chemistry. And in this, I don't even know who the piano player that was playing with Nancy Wilson was a live recording, right? And man, all the stuff I've been shedding on, it showed up in that solo. I was like, this is remarkable. I mean, this accompaniment, I'm sorry. This drop two voices I've been working on and stuff. And I was like, oh, there it is right there. I can recognize it, you know? And so I'm like, I'm telling myself, because I'm older now, hey man, practice this stuff. It's going to find a way to come out. Don't worry about
absolutely.
Right. But in my younger days, I was like, man, I'm about to hit him with this tonight. I'm about to hit him with this. It never comes out the right way. You know what I'm saying? And that's not reality. That's not reality. But I somehow convinced myself, yeah, this is reality. It's going to manifest tonight. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what about which one y'all want to do? Deterring action. These voices can discourage you from taking risks or pursuing your goals by emphasizing perceived failures or shortcomings. I don't know if you guys have that one.
Like, just feeling like you. I think I'm a fighter in that sense. Right. Just like, yeah, I think, like when I get the feeling that, you know, I'm doubting myself, or if I get the feeling somebody's doubting me, then it's like, you know, I'm like Gollum in that sense. It's another part of me that's just like, no, you must fight. That's me.
But you know, I think when we get to this point, we have to master that voice, right? Like all of us on this panel, we've had to master that part of deterring actions and negative self-talk, because there's no way we can get, and I'm not being cocky, but there's no way we three can get to the level that we're on without mastering that, you know, or suppressing that, you know, and knowing that that's the enemy of progress, is to be negative about yourself, or to the mentality to stop you from taking risks. So I mean, I don't. But was there a time in our life or where we did have those kind of things? I don't know. I don't think I was ever that type of person, even though, man, I dealt with some situations where, man, I was in a combo that was more advanced to where I was, and man, them jokers would walk out on me in the combo. The only person that could stay, was the drummer, because the drummer was behind the drum set. And the drummer was just as sad as I was. So I'm like, why are you looking down on me, bro? You know, you're sad too. But man, it was like, it was bad, because I was like, man, why am I even in this combo? You know? So I had to get past that self-deprecation kind of thing.
I'm sorry. Like the one thing that can be kind of discouraging is to see the incestuous kind of stuff going on, and like I don't know if it's nepotism, if that's the word, but when you see cats that just kind of like had stuff laid out for them, you know, like they used to use the word preordained, like, you know, like in other words, there are certain players that are at the top of the game now that their parents were long, you know, before involved in jazz, and it's kind of like they had the pathway set for them, you know what I'm saying? And then there's some of us that kind of feel like outsiders, like we're coming in this thing. It's just like, man, you kind of had all of this going for you. And I'm trying to, you know I can play, but there's at the same time, it's like, you know, people are expecting you, and it's kind of like there's a precedent already been set there for this person, you know, and how do you deal with that? Like, how do you deal with, like, man, I'm doubtful if I'll ever be in that echelon with these guys, because, you know, I'm just not, like, I'm kind of an outsider to this whole situation. That's one thing that can be discouraging, thinking about that, and then letting that discourage you from thinking that you can ever get to a place of success, you know. And it's just like, for me, I'm just like, nah, I'm not gonna let that, you know, bother me either. Like, how do you all feel about that?
That's interesting. I personally, I've never haven't experienced that because I didn't kind of come up in those channels, you know. And but I will say, I think that's probably the one thing that I have mastered is the negative thought, because I'm super good at, as I've talked to said on the show before about being vindictive about anybody that vibe me in the past or present. I'm really that's the one thing for me, man. You ain't got to worry about me being motivated, because I'm just looking for the opportunity to see them again at some point. That's so that for me is a driving force. Like, and I don't feel like I'm like that in other parts of my life, but when it comes to this, I think because when you see, it's similar to what you're talking about, Daryl, about kind of the nepotism or the family situation. When you're an outsider in any situation, and you are looking at yourself like, wait a minute, I'm just as good as this other cat is, but I'm not gonna get the opportunity based on what? Like, that is so I can kind of relate to that, because there have been a couple of situations. Yeah, there's been a couple of situations where I have felt like, not necessarily because of the family thing. I couldn't even tell you what the reason was, but they just had it out. I mean, it was like there is no way Burroughs is going to get that seat. That's just how I felt. Now, I could be completely wrong about that. Maybe I'm just thinking that it was something personal against me, but I don't think it was, man. I to this day I can't tell you necessarily why. But anyway, go ahead.
Like, I got a story. Like, this was in New Orleans. I can't remember if this was IAJE conference or it seems like it might have been an IAJE conference, right? And I think this was the House of Blues. There was a jam session, right? And it's like, I in New Orleans at the time, like John Baptiste, I used to, like, I remember like just watching this dude like practice over in the corner, you know what I'm saying? Christian Scott, I played with him in the Willie Metcalf band. Like Christian Scott. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, all those cats around New Orleans. Right. So this jam session happening one night. Me and Mike Burton standing outside the jam session, right? Trying to get in. Like, we watching all the cats come by. Christian Scott, walk on in. Trombone Shorty, walk on in. You know what I'm saying? John Baptiste, walk on in. Right? Stanley Crouch came by, walked right past us, walked on in. You know what I'm saying? And we just sitting out there like, man, this doorman won't let us in, man. It's like, you're supposed to be a jam session. We can't get in. Like, and the person that finally let us in was Winton. Winton showed up. He was just like, man, what you doing, man? Let these cats in here, man. You know what I'm saying? We was like, oh, thank God, but like, just those feelings of like, man, like, what, like, we totally felt like outsiders in that situation, and it's just like, it's that kind of stuff that sometimes it's like, man, like,
and that's outside of the instrument, right? That's like, y'all have your instruments. It's like, that's not enough. We got to recognize your face, bro. We got to know what your face is.
But what's even worse about that though is that somebody that personally is walking in and not getting you in with them.
Right.
That's even worse.
Right.
That to me, man, that's grounds for a battle, man. Right there, man.
Shout out to Winton walking by, yeah.
Yeah. It was a trip. Like, it was like cats like, y'all know us. Y'all know us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like, Winton finally came by and like, that before we were about to leave, he finally showed up. He was fussing like at the doorman, which was just like, okay, yeah, this is cool, Right. But that still didn't remove the fact that it's just like, I mean, there is like a thing there sometimes that can kind of like be there, and this for other cats trying to get in that like they have no family, no anything, and I mean that can be discouraging, like to somebody to think like, hey man, I'm never going to amount to anything in this whole thing anyway, because it's all about like who you know rather than your talent and everything like that, and that can really push somebody back. I think.
Yeah, Tyrone and I have talked about this because we've experienced certain cats that feel like they should be a part of certain situations, and they're wondering why they're not right now. And I'm like, I always say that somebody is gonna go with who they know first, regardless of what your talent level is or your skill level. If somebody doesn't know you, it sometimes it's just like a comfort thing. It's like they're gonna call the cat that they know. Like just he might not, but they know what they're gonna get. So sometimes you just have to kind of bide your time, but you also have to be what I would call a good sport about it too. Like you can't show your frustration about that, because then it comes off as though, even though, okay, you understand that you might be frustrated. I've been in those situations where, I may have felt like I deserve or I should be a part of some things, but you can't. But then I've had the self-analysis. I've had I can take a look at myself and I can say, well, man, I might not just be a fit for that, for what they're doing at the end of the day. So sometimes you have to listen to that voice too. Is like, okay, at first, yes, you're pissed, you're frustrated, you're upset, blah, 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 blah. But then if you kind of like let the emotional part of that go and you kind of really think about it, you go, man, well, maybe I don't think I'm because a lot of times it comes down to personality. Is your personality a fit for this particular situation? It has nothing to do with whether you can play or not. Right. So, but what we've experienced is guys that are not, they're not ready for these particular situations. And then they just want to be, idiots about the situation,
Yeah.
So they calling this person out, or they call, oh, this is a click, this is that. It's like, dude, we heard you play. You're not ready for this, or you don't, or your thing doesn't fit what is happening. So what did I do? You know what I'm saying, man? I mean, I felt like that at one time, but what did I do? I went and started my own band. I went and started my Afro Sounds thing, my own situation, where I'm going to build something around my skill set, right? And then what happened? Some of those cats that I couldn't get in, they start coming over to my side and checking out what I was doing,
Yeah.
So it's just those kinds of things. You kind of have to have you have to have some self-awareness, man, and you have to listen to the voice of reason sometimes as well. Maybe I'm not ready for this, or I'm not a fit personality-wise, or yada yada yada. So
now you're going into solving the problem with those voices. So you say, how do you deal with the voices? One is that you said that you have to deal with the voice of reality, right? Where you like, this is what's going on. And it resonates what you just said to me, because I mean, when I was young and got a studio session call and stuff, and man, I was trying my hardest to make something work when I could have simply said, hey man, this is not what I'm good at. This is not my forte. Why don't you try to call this cat? This cat will be a perfect match for what you're doing, instead of trying to meet that criteria. I can play gospel music, but I'm not one of the real guys. Just like there's no somebody that's going to play some things that I can do. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try it, whatever.
Right.
But it'll be easier for me to go in and do it. And so I have come to that realization, you know, a couple of times where I'm like, I'm older now. I'm like, you know what? Why am I beating myself up to try to put this square peg into a round hole? You know, it's not my forte now. I believe if I had enough time, I could do anything. I believe that. And I think I'm talented enough to do that. But well, I'm going to put myself through that. So sometimes I have to tell myself, hey, man, it's not your bag. It's cool. You know, or there's somebody else that's better than you at it. That doesn't diminish who you are as a musician.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So
you just,
No, go ahead. You just
can get it.
Yeah, you get it.
You can eventually, I'm just saying, you can eventually get it. It's just, you know, just accepting the fact that this is like, okay, I'm not there yet, you know, but I'll get there. And then, you know, another thing as far as like just the whole, I think, you know, you have to attract those people to you, you know, like, and know that it's like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna get in right now, but if I do things to attract, you know, to pull them towards me, you know, that might work out better.
And
also,
so I think that you have to come to a realization too about what you want to do. Like, for instance, I was doing that show, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers at the Fox Theater, and I was playing it and was reading. I'm a good reader, but they had people who was excellent readers, right? Doing those Broadway shows. Like I was taking my book home. Nobody was taking their book home. I was the only one. And I was kind of bummed out about it. And I said, you know, I could do this, but it's going to take an immense amount of time for me to accomplish this. Do I want to do that? And I said, no. What am I going to try to just prove to somebody that I can play on this level or read on this level? I don't need to prove that to anybody. Yeah, I know I could do it if that's something I want to do, but I had to come to a realization I don't want to be a Broadway theater pianist. They got enough people to do that. Let them have it. You know what I'm saying? Could I do it? Yeah, if I spent the time doing it, but I got time that I'm working on other things. You know what I'm saying?
But also that feeds into those people that do that. Man, they're passionate about that. That's like what they want. That's what they want to do. Just like what we do, we're passionate about that.
Right. They're not right.
You know, it's. Are there guys that could come in and play all the different ethnic styles that we like to play and all the different meters and stuff? If they worked on it night and day, they probably could, but it's not a passion for them and it's not natural. They don't think like that. So it kind of works both ways. You know, what you're talking about with the theaters. It's like, man, that is their thing, man. That's what they love. They're passionate at it. And the other stuff, man, maybe wasn't for them, but that's their thing, man. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, you know?
I saw this, one of the things, it was says, well, what happens, or how do you, like you said, Chris, to solve that? And one thing is about finding a balance between listening to our inner voice and knowing when to take a break from it. I just saw Sigwell, bro. Sig.
No, you said no one to take a break. No one.
It's about finding a balance between listening to our inner voice and knowing when to take a break from it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in taking breaks.
And shoot, I do. Man.
I don't believe in that.
Thank you, Daryl. Me too, bro. I do too.
Ain't no breaks.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no days off. This is a Bill Belichick's produced show. There's no days off, man.
See, the thing is like
Bill Belichick.
Man, I don't know. It's to me. It's okay. It's okay to get off the horse. I mean, you know, and just I think that just getting a chance to reset your mind, because sometimes I feel like things get built up and there's so much going on, and then it just gets to a point to where it's like got to clear all this out and just get a chance to be away from this for a while, like, and then come back to it. Because I mean, like, okay, what I've always experienced is like with like working on projects, is that once they come out, you have all of the promo and trying to, you know, do all of that stuff and administer everything, and you're dealing with a lot of people, talking to a lot of people, and all of that, you know, just kind of can be a lot. And sometimes I just feel like, hey, like it can a lot of things can tie you up to the point to where it can start to be frustrating. And my thing is like the music itself is like a journey. That's a thing that like I enjoy the process, you know, the school part of, you know, working on some music or just discovering things. All of that is fun, like, you know, until it gets to the point where things get hectic. And at that point, I just feel like, you know, at a certain point, take a break, chill out, and really get a chance to get away from it so you can come back fresh, you know, and still be not get to this hit a wall. Like you can still be developing and still feel like, hey, I'm still in school, I'm still learning, you know. I haven't gotten to this point to where it's like, you know, I'm just riding the wave now, like, and I just got to stay on this wave forever because, I mean, nobody said you had to, like, so
right.
That's kind of the way I see it.
Right.
Like Sade to me, like Sade is one of those artists that, you know, goes and lives a normal life and then comes back, does her thing, and then, you know, but then back off of it. And I guess that gives her the life experience and inspiration to come back and have something to say.
You know, I used to think that, man, oh man, a break is going to kill my momentum. You know, that's what I used to think. But then I started to learn, like, wow, it is, you do need to like separate, go do something else. You know, you can still be in a creative mindset with other things, but it is good to sort of like to give your, you know, whatever that is that you're, you know, your muscle memory or you know, more importantly, your mind, because there is that voice, which start talking about these voices, the voice of when you feel like you're not getting anywhere, but you're just constantly, but you're still, you won't stop. Okay. So I've have you guys been there? I've been there. Where it's like you're on this mission of impossible, right? It's like you're not getting anywhere, or you feel like you're not getting anywhere, but you just refuse to lose kind of attitude, right?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of take a step back, and you have to kind of like, just as Daryl, you have to be analytical about the situation. You have to go, well, first of all, what am I trying to achieve at this time? Because sometimes you really don't know what you're going for. You know, I have a tendency to, like, if I take the approach like Daryl, you tend to keep a list, right, of different things. Like, I'm better with, like, I got 2 things or 1 thing. And I'm trying to get as much mileage out of that one thing, because I've tried the multiplicity of approaches, and to put it in Steve Coleman terms, he has a thing called multiplicity of approaches. When I have tried, man, it's like I feel like I get nowhere, because I'm kind of like, I'm not diving into anything. I feel like I'm hitting a lot of different things, but I'm not, you know, I'm not building any vocabulary or whatever it is that you're trying to build on that idea, on whatever idea that you're working on. But when I can, man, when I can take one thing and ride that, man, I have so much confidence about what I want to. There's probably, I don't know what that is. T, you studying all this stuff, you probably can figure that out, but I'm way better when I do that. And that kind of stops any outside noise because I'm not thinking about anything else.
I think that's what you have to do. You have to figure out your way of learning. And once you find out what's successful, you block out the noise of what everybody else says. It's like, hey, I practice 8 hours a day. Well, that's fine for you, but that may not work for me. But you find out what works, and I found out for me that I'm basically I'm a leaper. It takes me 2-3 years, and then I have like a quantum leap in my playing or something, right? But I just have to keep putting the information in there. Where some people I knew that it was just steadily improving, But then, a summer hit, and then I come back and it's like, man, what? You must have been shedding. I was like, I've always been shedding. It's just. So I've learned that, hey, that's what I do. I'll get up at 3 o'clock in the morning when it's quiet, and that's my time to practice, for me, or 2 o'clock, what have you. Where so I had to filter out the noise and say, now I found people who were like me, and I took suggestions, and Gray Mayfield was good for my life because he would tell me some things. He dropped off the first tape to me was Thelonious Monk on one side, Duke Ellington trio on the other side of it, right? He just gave it to me and left. Like, what this cat doing? He didn't tell me anything. So that cassette was burning a hole in my hand. I was like, man, let me see what's this about, right? Well, I wasn't good enough to deal with the Thelonious Monk yet, but I put it on that Duke Ellington. I was like, man, Duke really playing. And there's some pundits that say, oh, Duke Ellington was a terrible piano player. I'm like, have you listened to this? That's not true. But anyway, so, but just by him giving me that, man, and that resonated with me, like just people depositing stuff into my life, and I'm going from there, and stuff. I picked George Cables was the same way, man. Just gave me something on a sheet of paper, man, that changed my life. Those kind of things, those little deposits in my life, is how I learn. I hang around people. I mean, I know Chris had an Afro-Cuban group. I wasn't ready for it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't ready for it. And he quickly got somebody else. And he said very nicely, hey, bro, I need somebody who's going to immerse themselves in this. You're not ready for this yet, I appreciated that too. But then I started really listening and started delving into it. And so now I feel like I don't want to go down that road right now because it's a long road to go down. But I feel like now I understand a lot more where I could be in one of those groups and would love it. And, I recorded some stuff too. Right. But I just have to realize that noise, the outside, is you accept what you can take from people and incorporate it. The stuff that doesn't work, man, put it on the side, bro. You know what I'm saying? Put it on the side. So I got a process that works. And when people ask me about my process, I'll tell them and say, this may not work for you, but I'm into the result. I tell my students all the time, however you need to think about it, but it has to be efficient, because if you have like 24 steps to get to implement it, it's not working. I can tell you what works for me, but tell me how you think about it. Let's devise a plan around it. I don't want to force my way of thinking on anybody because it may not work for them, because I have a builder's mind. Ever since when my mom gave me some Tinker Toy stuff, they had the stuff that you could build with it and stuff. I was like, I want to build an elevator with it, right? And so that's what I decided to do. And my mentality has always been like, how does this work together? It's not that I have this amazing talent. It's just that my mind is one that, how is this constructed? How does this fit together? And I just go with that, and I find like people. I mean, I play with Chris and Craig Shaw all the time and stuff. And we kind of like have that same mentality. Let's build this thing together and see how these parts are going to fit in. We don't analyze and say, man, Michelle Camille did this, we're going to do it exactly. No, we're like, well, how we could use that as a template. Oh, this is how they built that. But that's what I find myself. And when people hear us play together, they're like, oh, dang, y'all got something. Well, do we?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, I think all of us another good way to stop those voices is you have to study somebody, study something, study some. How did this person get from point A to point B? Daryl has done that with Herbie and the head with the headhunter stuff.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
what is? How did this? Where are the seeds coming from? How did they get to this point? How do you implement the jazz concept on top of this type of funk? Because this is different than James Brown. This is a completely different kind of thing. They're mixing a lot of different things. So you have to, it's just like cooking, right? It's like you might want to make a dish, and what's the first thing you have to have is a recipe, man. If you don't have a recipe, you're not a master. You can't just experiment and I'm gonna try. You don't know enough about the ingredients yet.
Right.
This is one thing that we constantly talk about with this generation of musician. Y'all just copy stuff. You just copying, and you're not trying to build your own recipe. You're not trying to, which takes a lot of guts, because that food is going to taste bad for a long time. But over the course, you're like, oh, I added too much salt. Oh, that's too much garlic. Okay, I don't need that much of this. It's the same thing with this. Is okay, first let me see who it is that I want to concentrate and study. Just take one person. It could be one drummer, one saxophone player, one keyboard player. Doesn't have to be 10 different people. You take one person. Okay, I'm gonna get 10 recordings of this person. Let me check everything out that this person. Let me see how they play with this person. Then let me see how they play with this person. Then let me see how that gives you an idea of, man, okay, they still sound like themselves, but they weren't as loud with this person. I didn't even hear a solo. Art Blakey, he plays the same shuffle, the same groove on Jimmy Smith on the sermon for 20 minutes. You don't even know it's really him.
But that's, that helps counteract a voice of that distorted reality, because we think sometimes guys got to play all this stuff, right?
Man,
and in our head, we think we got to be fresh every time. But that can counteract that voice of distorted reality, because when you hear Art Blakey playing behind Jimmy Smith the same groove, you're like, oh, I can do that then.
Man, he doesn't even play a fill or a cymbal crash for 15 minutes. And then you go hear him on one of his records and he's blasting because that's what he knows what he's doing for certain situations. That's going to work. In other situations, that's not going to work. So we're kind of getting off topic here a little bit, but just real quick, this is kind of the thing that you have to hone down. You have to isolate on something. You isolate on one thing, on one person, and try to figure out what are the ingredients that this person is using for their thing. Can I take some of that? Because sometimes you might study somebody. I don't know. You guys have had somebody that you like, you might come across, but you're like, man, like Daryl, you might really respect Chris Potter, but that doesn't really, what way Chris Potter plays doesn't really fit what you kind of want to do, but you have mad respect for what he does because you really checked him out. But if you didn't check him out, you wouldn't know that, right? It would just be hearsay. Oh, I heard he was killing. Oh, I heard, no, go check him out yourself. And that can eliminate a lot of stuff, man. So I got to get back on topic, but I just wanted to kind of.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Focusing, just focus on something and really, walk away knowing that I really did study this like very thoroughly, and not only did I study it, I found a way where I can do something similar, but not exactly what this person is doing. I found, like, I see their approach and I'm using that approach to do something different that I can make it me, instead of doing exactly what they're doing verbatim.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and so it takes getting to know them first and like learning their rules in order to break their rules. You know,
right.
yeah, like
right.
That's the common thing. And one thing I want to add to what you're saying is like if you get lucky to hear alternate takes of people in the studio.
I'm big into that, man.
Right.
Somebody just sent me some stuff today with that, and we were talking about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's really helped me to really see the scope of, you know, like to listen to Charlie Parker's alternate takes. It's just like, oh, okay. So I see, like, he wasn't, you know, he kind of had a certain vocabulary and a certain kind of idea of how he would play. It would be different solos, but they would be very, you know, similar. So I just was able, you know, just able to see like, okay, this is how this person thinks, you know, and or this is how he might flip it, you know, change it up a little bit on the next thing, but I can see where he is, like what his thought process was at the time that he recorded this, you know, just that's just a good resource to me to really understand how to develop yourself, you know, and how to develop your own vocabulary and, you know, get your own vocabulary under your own belt to where it's just like you develop an identity, rather than just, you know, copying somebody else's identity. That's my thing. So
yeah, that was I mean, I would love we should probably handle that topic, man, because I that's a really good one. Is, you know, when you talk about improvisation, soloing, because some of that is still a mystery to me. Like, I don't feel like I'm a great soloist at all. You know, I feel like I'm hit and miss. But what you're talking about, and I've fought with this just about every day of my life in terms of like approach to soloing. You know, should I have a, you know, depending, but you really, I guess you can't really do that. But I hear certain cats where it's like, man, it sounds like they kind of just they have like a built-in thing that they know that they can do, and then they just kind of like switch up around that. Like, then you hear other cats where it's like, man, they come up with something different every time they freaking play something. You know, it's like that.
Right.
It's so, you know, that would be an interesting I think for us to talk about, because that's it's for me, that is a man, I'm still like, it's a mystery to me, man. Sometimes, like, it just, some days it's there, some days it's not there. Where I think for you guys, I think you just, when you solo, when you guys are soloing all the time on all the tunes, right? With drums, it's not really like that all the time. It's like you don't really know when you're going to solo, when you're not going to solo sometimes, right? So unless it's like a built-in thing where, you know, you're doing an arrangement and you know there's this, you know it's coming, right? If I know it's coming, oh, I'm prepared, I'm ready for it. Like, because I've already sort of like, what's the tune with Carla that the last tune that we
thinking about that on the street
the first
where you
time
live.
It threw me to freak off because I was like, I forgot about it. I was like, oh man. So it was like deer in headlights. And then
the next
but
time,
now see, I know it's coming.
Right.
So now I got a whole, we're gonna break it down.
Right.
And so there's a whole thing where I can kind of like get it, but that's it's interesting stuff. But anyway, let's end tonight. That was a great topic. We got a lot of stuff to chop up.
Yeah, sure.
And I think what we have sort of stumbled upon as far as answers is, it really is, man, all about like focus. Like, what can you focus on? Okay. And building the stamina for, because that's something that you build. It's not something that you just have. At least I did.
And also counteracting the voice with your voice, with the voice.
Yeah.
Like Daryl said, you get into a place and you have to say, stop.
Right.
Let me get back to this.
And knowing that there's nothing wrong with that,
Right. Knowing nothing's wrong with
you said stop, though, not quit.
No,
not quit.
Right.
Stop and go back to this, or stop. You need to work this a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can tell yourself, man, I'm good. Let me keep working. I mean, I have to have those conversations with myself when I get ready to play sometimes, man. If I mess up, I mess up. But guess what? I'm not going to try to mess up. I'm going to try to play as good as I can. But I have to talk to myself so I don't have no negative thing. But exercising, man. I've been away from exercising so much that I'm enjoying it now. But I still have to have those conversations, man. You can do that, man. Take it, right? Attack that hill, because I know I'm never going to attack that hill on my bike. If I'm looking at the hill, I'm like, oh man, I know my leg's gonna be burning, right? I'm like, but I know I gotta go through that to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know I got it. So I have to have that internal dialogue. And so, a lot of y'all young people who are out here soloing at the jam session, it's gonna happen. Don't beat yourself up. Say, let me figure out how I can make this happen. I'm gonna get there. It's all right where I am right now, but I'm working towards something. It's all right for me to take 2 courses and not 17.
Right. And my thing is just the patience. the patience, slowing stuff down. The slower you slow things down, and the more in tune that you are, like focused, aware of what you're slowing down, that's setting you up to be able to do it masterfully fast, like at the fastest speeds you can do it. But it's that the problem is the pressure when you're looking at what everybody else is doing and feeling like, nah, I got to get this somehow. I gotta rig it somehow. Just let me come up with a lick that I can play, and halfway practice it, and then like I can just show that I can do the same thing too. But it's like that's not what you want to do. What you want to do is slow this thing down, give yourself time. And like there was a time when I was on stage, people were kind of laughing at me because I was working something out for the first time. But I knew it was like, hey, and I'm doing this slow and I don't have it yet. And I know I sound messed up right now, but give me 6 months and you're going to be like, oh, damn. That kind of thing. So, yeah. I know that has happened. So it's just a matter of being patient with yourself. Like you can get it, and you can especially get it when you allow yourself to get it.
Right.
Like that's my thing.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, Chris, your final thoughts, bro?
Yeah, man. I think that was fantastic. This is actually an ongoing, just something we can, because I don't think you ever really quiet those voices. I think they're there with you all, all the time. When you're young, you have certain things that you hear. When you're older, you have another set of things that you have to kind of fight through. So, but I think at the end of the day, the more organized you are about what you're doing, the less room you have for those thoughts to kind of creep in. That's like what I've found for myself. Like, the more organized I am, like if I'm, like I said, man, if I'm just working, if I like, especially if I'm working on, if I have a gig or something, I have somebody else's music to, if I know that's like, but even then it's like, you can take a listen to something. How many times has this happened to you? Oh, this is easy. I ain't got to check this out. But you listen to a minute and 20 of it. Wait till 121 pop up on you and you didn't listen to it. And 121 through 7, you're like, I did not listen to this at all.
Right.
I'm in trouble. So, that's a whole nother show.
Bro, I hate when you do a couple of those listens, bro, but you don't know the names of the songs, bro. Somebody says, let's play Over the Grapevine. You're like, wait, which one is that?
Yeah, I don't know no titles at all. What's the name of that? Man, one of the funniest talking about the content creators, man, this gospel cat put up this one thing that was so funny one time about like
listening to it on the gig, on the way to the gig.
Wait until the morning of the service to listen to the tunes, and they all hard.
All was hard, yeah. I saw that one.
Man, that junk was hilarious.
He put on track one. Like, oh, well, let me hear the next one.
Just the face, but just his face, he was just like,
Hey, that phrase, you gotta face the music, is a real phrase. That joint, you gotta face that joint, bro. Walking in, bro. Hey, I didn't shed this junk like I should have, bro.
That's hilarious, man. And it's happened to everybody, man. It's happened to everybody.
All
right, guys. Great show. Thank you for tuning in on the YouTube exclusively. We had a nice little flow in of people, so we'll try to get the word out. We are on YouTube only now, so we're gonna try to work this algorithm and see what happens. I think good things are going to happen. So, all right, guys. Any last thoughts?
If the weather holds up, I'm live at 5 tomorrow.
That's,
15th Street and Peachtree, which is Colony Square. So, and then afterwards, going to go to Red Light. So,
is weather supposed to be tricky tomorrow? You said if the weather holds up. Okay.
Yeah, there's just a front supposed to be coming in like a tropical depression or something like that may stop it. So I'll know by like 11 o'clock. So I'll put something on social media if it's canceled or whatever.
Okay.
But I hope it stays together.
Okay. And then July 13th, we'll have some more information about this coming up, but we have another session, LMXP session.
Yes.
Who knows? Mr. Reeves, we might have to get Mr. Reeves come down, but this is the session where we invite select students to come and play. We're going to have a Q&A. We will have a show, where we'll play first, and then we'll have invited people to come play. Tyrone's idea this time, we had the kids play with us last time, but maybe we're going to group them together and form separate groups, and then maybe they'll play, and then we'll just critique. So that's I think a nice idea to go with. The
name that we're experimenting with is the feedback jam session.
Yeah, feedback. So that's going to be at the Academy. Academy
Theater in Hateville.
Academy Theater in Hateville. That will be July 13th. That's a Sunday, and that's at 6:30. So
it's going to be nice.
Mark your calendars, and if you are students that you want to be involved, shoot us a DM, and you will be considered for the performance. So
if you want to play, hear from the masters.
Yeah, well, whoever that is, but
it's relative.
Yeah, it's relative. So, and we're trying to figure out, like, I don't know how we're gonna need more time than 2 hours, dude. I mean, that's what there was. I just know that. So we'll figure it out.
That's why you have a sequel, bro.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. But it's going to be at 6:30. 6:30. So we'll have more information on that. But mark your calendars now and drop us a line if you want to be involved. And other than that, I think that about covers everything, man.
Yeah,
so
good stuff.
Good stuff, guys. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. John, Dina, Martin, Sigwell. He got you. See, he got you this time, though. He didn't got me last. He got you.
Yeah, he got me.
He got you.
Okay.
And Podorzer.
Lamatina.
Lamatina.
Lamatina, put 13th on your calendar, bro. July 13th.
Go watch highlights of
the Knicks.
Trying to find some highlights for him, but they ain't
much. Look at that first game of the series, bro.
Okay, that's good. They can live through that. Yeah, they can live through that. All right.
The one where they blew that lead.
Well, that's not a highlight, though.
Yeah, it is. It's a low life.
What about the semis? About the semis? Can they still watch?
Yeah, go watch Boston. Yeah, you can watch that.
Yeah. Go watch Boston without
Tatum.
With light skin. What's his name? Tatum.
Yeah. Light skin wonder.
Yeah. Light skin wonder. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you all next week. Bye.